Hey guys, Rick Stone here from Our Stony Acres. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Please make sure that while you're here you subscribe and click that notification bell so that you get notice when we release new videos, which we do 4 to 6 times every month. We're releasing some gardening related content. So please subscribe so that you get that information. We're quickly approaching 40,000 subscribers, and so I love to have people join and to help you out. Okay, so this is the next video in our monthly planting guide series for those of you that live in zones 5 and 6. Okay, so this is my home zone. We live in zone 6. And you can see weather's nice. It's sunny today. Had to move under the trees because it was so bright and sunny. We're in the 80s, actually moving into the 90s here pretty quick. I'm filming this video right at the very end, last week of May. And so our weather's already warming up and doing really nice for zone 6. And the thing that I want you guys to gain the most from this video today is there's still hope, okay? For those of you that live in zones 5 and 6, there's still plenty of stuff that you can be planting in June. So some of you, especially in zone 5, may just be getting started on your warm season crops. And so there's plenty still to do in zones 5 and 6, and a lot of stuff that you can be planting that you can still bring to full maturity. And I know this by experience because here about 8 years ago, we moved right in the middle of April and May, and so we actually didn't get our garden planted until like the 10th of June, and we still had a very successful, very productive garden in a zone 6. So plenty of hope for you guys. So let's go through the list. There's quite a few things. Everything that you're going to be planting out in your garden right now is pretty much warm season crops. There will be some cool season crops that we're going to talk about that you're going to need to plant indoors for fall. We'll talk about that as well. So let's start out with what you can plant outdoors in your garden. And the first thing would be tomatoes. So you can definitely plant tomatoes still. I would maybe start thinking about some of the shorter maturing varieties. So, you know, maybe some determinate tomatoes, Romas and things like that don't take quite as long and don't spend as much time growing vines and instead just grow plants. But definitely plenty of time to get some tomatoes in. You won't get as big of a harvest as you would have if you'd planted them a month ago, but you're still going to get plenty of harvest out of those tomatoes. So get some tomatoes in. You can even do some peppers as well in your garden. All of the summer squashes, make sure you don't miss those because zucchini, yellow crookneck, and patapan squashes can all be planted in zones 5 and 6 this month, and you've still got at least 3 months before your first frost, maybe a little bit more, and so plenty of time to bring those to maturity and get a nice sized harvest. So get all of those in. Green beans, especially the bush beans, you've got plenty of time for those. Even pole beans, you've probably still got plenty of time to plant those. Melons, it is getting a little bit on the late side for melons, and so if you want to plant melons, you're going to be looking for the smaller varieties, so the icebox varieties that don't take as long to grow. Also, you could be still growing cantaloupe, honeydew, any of the smaller melons that have maturity dates that are more around 60 to 100 days. You've still got time for those. Potatoes, you could definitely plant some potatoes. If there's still seed potatoes available in your area, you could be planting potatoes at this time. Cucumbers, for sure. All of your herbs, so things like basil, parsley, dill, oregano, sage, thyme, all of those can still be planted during the month of June. Plenty of time for that. Onions, if you have onions as sets, so you might be able to find some onion sets, starting to run out of time to really get full-grown bulbs, but you can definitely plant onions and expect to get green onions, but no seeds. You're not planting by seed. You're going to be planting by set or starts if you happen to have some available, but starts this time of year are hard to come by. But you should be able to still find the sets, which are the little kind of miniature onions. You can still plant those. You may not get a lot of really big bulbs, but you'll still get plenty of green onions and some smaller bulbs as well. Let's see, summer crisp lettuces. So a lot of people don't know about summer crisp lettuces. There's several different varieties. One is called Nevada. That do really well in the summertime, and they hold up against the heat, even as high as like in the 90s. If you live somewhere that gets consistently over 100 degrees for, you know, several weeks in a row, maybe summer crisp lettuces aren't for you. But if for the most part you're just landing in the 90s most of the time, then summer crisp lettuces are an awesome option. And you can look those up online. One variety that I really love is called Nevada. You could also probably do some root crops, so things like carrots, parsnips, turnips, beets. All of those are technically cool season crops, but they do okay in the summertime. And so you could still get those planted. You're gonna have to baby them, especially until they germinate. You're gonna have to give them plenty of water and plenty of extra attention so that they get germinated. But all of those root crops you could probably grow as well. You could also think about a few greens. You could grow like New Zealand spinach, Malabar spinach, kale or Swiss chard. All of those could still be planted this time of year. They won't be quite as tasty, but still a great way to have some greens, and maybe even some collards would go in as well. Now let's talk about indoors. June actually, and I know this sounds weird because we're still in the spring and just starting into the summer, but June is the time that you need to start thinking about your fall crops. So things like broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, kohlrabi, all of those do really, really well when they're planted by transplant in the fall. And they'll have great harvest for you in October and early November. But in order to get those planted, you've got to get the starts going now. And by now I mean mid-June for those of you in 5 and 6. So you want to indoors, you want to start broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, kale, kohlrabi, Brussels sprouts, all of that family of plants. Start them indoors about mid-June so that they're ready to go outside hopefully somewhere around the middle to the end of August. That's kind of the time frame that we want to have those ready. And I know that sounds like a pretty harsh time of year to be planting transplants, and it is. And so you're going to have to be careful. And we'll talk when we do the planting guide for August and September. We'll talk more about how to care for those. But if you want those and you want them to be your own transplants, you've got to get them started in June. Somewhere between the 15th and the 30th of June is when you're going to start those, so that they have that 6 to really 8 weeks to get mature and good, strong, healthy plants that can then be hardened off and transplanted out into the garden in mid to late August, so that you get a nice harvest. So that's one more thing that you got to get on your list. It's time to get your seed starter cranked back up and start some of those seeds indoors as well. So, okay, that is our list for this month, and hopefully that helps you out. Again, this is zones 5 and 6 for June, and what you can still be planting in June. And we'll continue this series every month for the entire year of 2020. We'll have something that you can be planting in zones 5 and 6. So come back and look for those. And the best way to come back and look for those is to subscribe to my channel. So make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell so that you get noticed when I release more videos like this. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you feel like I missed something, please leave it in the description below. And then just remember, it's not too late. You can still get your garden going in zones 5 and 6. So get out there and get it planted. Okay, that's all I have for you for this week. Everybody have a great week. Happy gardening. Hey guys, thanks again for watching this week's gardening video. Hope you enjoyed it, and come back often for more content like that. I wanted to take just a quick second to tell you a little bit about the Gardening Academy. Now, what is the Gardening Academy? That is our membership program where we deliver weekly content to you that helps you become a better gardener. We send you things like mini courses, Q&A sessions, growing guides, expert interviews, all kinds of great stuff. Something new every week that will help you become a better gardener. And it's a super great program. We have a private Facebook group where we've got a great group of people that just are having a lot of fun, and we're just having a blast. So I wanted to make sure that you guys knew about the Gardening Academy. If you would like to learn more, you can either go to thegardeningacademy.com, or if you would like, there's a link that you can click down below that will take you to the Gardening Academy. And if you click that link and sign up, you'll actually get a free course. You can get our free 5 crops to grow for food storage course if you sign up using that link. So go ahead and click through and join us. We're having a lot of fun. Okay, thanks guys. Happy gardening.